Happy Monday, Bucs fans. Welcome to another great episode of Bucs Report the Aftermath. Only a few more days away from the draft. But before we even get into that, I need y'all to subscribe to this YouTube channel, or you can simply subscribe to our Spotify or Apple Music. So I need y'all to check that out. So I hope you guys get your rum, get your popcorn, get your beer, and we're here to talk our shit. Because, like I said, in a few more days, we're going to see where this Buccaneers organization is heading. Are we heading in the path of mid? Are we heading in the path of greatness? Or are we simply heading to the path of destruction? That is what we are going to be having to deal with this draft. That's how vital it is to this Buccaneers organization. This draft will determine not just for the coach, but on the defensive side and the offensive side. So before I get further ahead of myself, let's bring in our defensive-minded championship-winning coach, Coach Slick. What's up, Slick?
Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm just getting geared up for the games because we got our game starts. We got our first game of the season next week. So
nice.
Get ready for that.
Are y'all ready? Y'all gonna be ready?
We ain't got no choice but to be ready.
That's right. That's what I want to hear. See, that's how a coach is supposed to answer the question, y'all. You don't have a choice. You really don't.
You don't have a choice. Games next week. It's gonna come. We're not fucking ready. We got work. We got even more work to do.
We got more work to do. Okay, guys. And again, you go check out my channel. It's about bucking time. There's a video called "Give Coach Slick an Opportunity." Accolades speak for itself. Philosophy. So just check him out because he could help this team out or wherever. We just want Slick in the States on an NFL team with an NFL salary and call it a day. But Slick, let's get right into it. I mean, the draft is this Thursday. Yep. It's a lot of so many things are coming out of nowhere now, as we know. People talking about the Bucs are going to get a tight end. Can you see? I don't see that, but now it's going to be very interesting. So, what is your take on this draft? Like, what do you want to see, in your opinion? What is it that you are looking for from this organization to put us in the path of glory like we were 5 years ago?
Okay, so you're picking, 14th, 15th?
15th. We are the 15th pick.
15th, right? Your first round pick has to be an instant starter. Has to be. He can't be a guy who's going to develop. It has to be someone who's starting day one, which is why edge is a very iffy area I want to go. You draft a lineman, he's probably going to start day one. You draft a linebacker, he probably could start day one. You draft a corner, it's possible. You draft a tight end, I don't know yet. I don't know. I'm not too sure on that. You draft a wide receiver, it's possible. You draft an O-lineman, again, it's possible. So I think you need to hit the ball out of the park straight off the bat. You need to get a day one starter, not a guy who's going to develop, not a guy you can wait on. The Buccaneers don't have the luxury. If the Buccaneers want to win now, they're playing for the fucking future, then they can go and draft the edge. But they need to have a plan for linebacker and defensive line and all the other positions. But it looks like Sonny Styles is going to be off the board. Every mock draft I'm seeing, he's been off the board. That being said, we all know that players can drop, but I just don't see him dropping. I did a mock draft for Bucs on behalf of Bucs Report, and I ended up going through all these players, and I really had to think, and I just really couldn't find anybody to fit the bill except for CJ Allen from Georgia. He's the only of a pure linebacker in the draft that I think could probably start day one. That's going to be a dude. All the pass rushers, and we had Keldrick Folk and Akeem Mesador. These guys, they're development players. They're going to be great year two players potentially. If you want that, go and you've got to get the linebacker in the next pick, because linebackers don't always start when they're round 3. That's round 1. Round 2 has to be another starter. Has to be another starter, a guy who's going to contribute straight away to the team. And then finally, your 3rd round pick. This is your guy who's a role player. He'll play, but in spots. So, for example, like a nickel, like a package player, rather than, say, a day 1 starter. Someone who's going to get a lot of reps. Someone who maybe compete for the number 2 spot, so he's going to get his lion's share. That's how I look at it.
I like that. I like where you're going with this. And with the Sonny Styles situation, yes, Buck fans, it's not fucking happening. For the most part. Now, I want to give you a scenario though, Slick. Let's do this. Let's play Jason Light moment. You gonna be Jason Light. So what if this happens all the time? What if Sonny Styles happens to fall into the Bucs' lap at 15? Now, you have another team gives you a call and they say this. So I'm trying to think of a prime example. Yes. Let's say a team calls and says, hey, we really want Sonny. And they're like at the 23rd pick. We want Sonny. We are willing to give you our 23rd pick and our 2nd round to go get Sonny Styles. Do you pull the trigger, Slick, or do you get you stick it, you just go take Sonny Styles? They're going to give you their 1st round spot already, but they're also willing to give you their 2nd round.
It depends on it depends on how the Buccaneers would value them, right?
Mm-hmm.
You want a day 1 star. He's the best linebacker. He's probably the best pure linebacker in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really want to miss on the talent, and because all you're getting is a day 2 pick. But that day 2 pick could be the difference. Like you could still pick a linebacker. You could still pick, or you pick an edge, pick a linebacker with your 2nd pick, or you can trade up and go and get the other pick. Because CJ Allen is on that cusp of being a day 2/day 1 player. He's a late 1st rounder, which is the only reason I picked him, is because I wanted instant splash of a guy who's going to make plays straight away. So you could probably go get him, take those, and complement your team. It would probably come down to interviews, how the guy it comes across. But yeah, why? Like if you take that one, you can always go up and get the CJ Allen of the world and still pick one of those pass rushers. So then you can solidify that spot. So I'd probably go down that route. That way you get a high-end pass rusher and the linebacker ready to go. Then you can always look at D-line, offensive line in the 3rd round.
Mm-hmm. I like where you're going with this. I would do the same, just because we need all the pieces we can get. Like you said, Slick. I've been trying to tell a lot of Bucs fans, we're not going to win by having the 2 top. We're not going to have a Texans type of pass rush where 2 guys are going to be your studs. We're going to have to do what we've done in our past, where we did have studs, or what the Eagles just did 2 years ago. We got to win with body, Slick. We're going to have, like you've always said, 5 to 6 pass rushers who can have between 5 to 6 sacks apiece. Because that's a good recipe. So I get where you're going. The more the merrier in the quality of the talent. That's why I asked that question. But in reality, it won't happen because Sonny, I don't know why, Slick. I see Sonny's gonna be on an NFC East team. He's either gonna go to Dallas, gonna go to Washington, or he's going to New York. Those NFC East is gonna get him. That's just, it fucking sucks, but I'd rather, you know what? I feel comfortable if he was on the Commanders or Giants rather than Dallas. I don't want Dallas to go anywhere. I really don't. I don't want them motherfuckers to get shit, because I think Sonny would actually fit very well in any of those teams. Imagine him with the Giants under Harbaugh.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I think that would be a great opportunity. But in my opinion, give me Slick, do you have your list? I would love to see your list of drafts. Like
so every time I've done a mock draft, it's not come out. It comes out a little bit unimaginable. So I'm just going to pull it up now. I don't actually have it on here, but I'll just go through the players because I've got it written down.
Let's do it.
So for some reason, Ruben Bain from my Edge out of Miami was still available, which I know that's from what I've seen and heard, I've not seen him crop up on any boards where the Buccaneers have an opportunity to really pick him. But I'll take that. And then, as Olsen said, CJ Allen in the second round, he was there when I went to pick him there. Then I went for Kalen Rutledge out of Georgia Tech as an inside offensive lineman. To really get a proper guard that's going to be the long-term future for the Buccaneers rather than Ben Bredeson. Nothing against Ben Bredeson, but he's a shoe-in guy that you're going to keep around for a bit. He's a bridge for the next guy.
I like that.
I would love that to be. If that was my draft, I'd fucking walk away the happiest man alive. I really would, because I've got a day one start, potentially a day one start in Ruben Bain. I've got who's considered one of the better pass rushers in the draft, and then I've got CJ Allen, who's going to be potentially a Levante David type kind of dude. Solid run defender, average in the pass, but I think all linebackers are now starting to become more average in the pass. Finding linebackers that shut down the pass is difficult because just of how athletic everyone else is getting. And then Kalen Rutledge, just to solidify, I wanted a defensive lineman, but there was none available, and I didn't want to keep going further down. I was like, you got to look at that best available.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you've got to look at the need. So I was like, we could do with someone there. So let's go get that. You can never have too many horses to be able to plow someone down. So,
no, I hear you. I can dig it. I'm going to show you my draft, because everybody, this is just me. Like you said, it's like in a perfect world, it's certain players I would love to get, but I'm trying to be as realistic in what I want with needs and looking at what they can do best. And if the dude was here, he'd be proud of one of the guys I'm picking. But I'll get to it. So this is my draft right here. Ooh, I gotta stretch that out some more. No, these are my picks though. So my first round, the reason why I want Akeem Messidor, the reason why as you can see, Slick, most of my draft was for the most part defense, because that's what we need. Fucking defense. But Akeem Messidor he does have a high effort he's a high effort edge rusher. He's got a good speed burst, Slick. He can assist against the run, which is important because we know Bowles likes to stop the run. So I think you can slowly acclimate him to the power and speed of the NFL by him being able to stop the run first. He's good. He has finesse power. He takes good angles. That's another good thing about him. I remember watching him in college a little bit because me and my Uncle Mike, he's a Canes fan. So I watched Akeem. I like Akeem. Now, you're right. I'm not looking for Akeem to be a 9 to 10 sack guy. If he can get between 7 to 8 sacks, Slick, if we do things the right way, that's a success. So that's why I like him. Now, hear me on this. Now, for my second round pick for my linebacker, I love CJ. I just don't see us getting him. Someone else is going to get him.
If he's going to be taken in the second round, it's going to be super early. You have to trade him to go get him.
Right. I would want to get Deontay Lawson. He's 6'3", 226, 4.6 speed. Alabama, but it's that 4.6 speed, Slick. He's twitchy. He's fast and bursting. He can be a sneak blitzer. But another thing is with that speed, at least I think, Slick, we need speed when it comes to coverage. We were getting cooked outside of Levante David. Nobody else that could fucking cover, especially, Bowles. I know we know, ladies and gentlemen, we already know, Bucs fans, you can forget it. Bowles is going to do his bullshit cushion coverage. So if we're going to do cushion coverage, Slick, at least have the linebackers to fit. I like Lawson's speed. I think he can go side to side. So that's why I chose him. Now, this is where I say the dude with my third round pick, Slick. Now, this one's a little bit of a stretch because some people might project him as a late second round, but I still could see him fall to the third. The defensive lineman from Florida State, Darrell Jackson. I like Darrell. Big body guy. He can stop the run. He's physical. He can consume 2 gaps. And the most important thing, Slick, is that he, in my opinion, he can give Vita Vea at least 1 to 2 more prime years by keeping him fresh. You can rotate him. He's good at stuffing the run. Slick, I think a lot of people don't realize Vita's getting up there in age now. I think he's like 30 or 31 now. We don't want him. We need Vita Vea. We want Vita Vea, Slick, healthy by in good shape by week 15 to get into the playoffs. We want to see the Vita that we saw when we was on our Super Bowl run, where you can't stop him. So, and he's a good rotational piece. Now, we've already talked about Kalijah Kancey's got to step up. So that's why
you imagine him, Kalijah Kancey, and Vita Vea,
that's
and
what
and you put him in a rotation, so it's not just him all the time because he's still got to learn the game, right?
That's
definitely.
See, Slick, you see, we hear y'all. You have a guy like that. Vita doesn't have to take that many snaps. He can literally, like you said, get acclimated. And we're not asking Darrell I'm not asking him to rush the passer. That's Kalijah's job. I want him to stuff the run. So that is why I got him. Now for my next guy, and just because I think this year Ohio State was loaded with talent, I would get Caden Curry. Caden Curry from Ohio State is good too. Good angle tackler as well. So, and again, he would be a nice little depth piece. We've got to win with bodies. Now, for the if I'd made up a trade, I would try to get Lorenzo Styles. Lorenzo is nice too. I like Lorenzo as a cornerback. He's got good speed. He runs a 4.27, Slick.
Nice.
A 4.27. So at least if you put him in zone or cushion, he has the speed to recover. Or he could jump a route with his speed. Now his hands are in question. I ain't gonna front, but maybe.
But if you bat the ball down,
right,
to the next down, right?
It's
you bat the ball down, you go to the next down.
Exactly. Now those are my guys. Now, if we were able, if Jason Light does his magic, Slick, then yes, I would want a guard. I would want Jeremiah Wright. Nasty. He's good at. We just need. I want us to be able to run the ball effective. We need nasty run stopping offensive linemen. Slick. I think we got good pass blockers already, but I want nasty running like we did under Cohen. Remember when we were running under Cohen? You had to fear it, and that's going to help Baker. So as you can see, Slick, most of my draft is about this defense. I want the defense to I want so much depth, Slick, that Bowles has no excuse. Now with Walker coming back, now you have an official stacked edge rushing room, Slick. You got to try all of them out. If it were up to me, I would release Braswell.
Braswell's still under contract under a rookie deal. He costs nothing to keep.
That's true. That's
the only reason you'd keep him is because it's like for that you have that depth. Unless he you got to see where he fits on the depth chart, right? You don't need to release him to save cap space.
That's
he's
true.
He's probably cheaper than a free agent.
I think I know. For me, I'm just so disappointed in him.
Yeah, I remember we were both quite excited.
I was high on him because I saw what he did in college, but I don't know. But
doesn't translate, man.
Yeah, and Olsen, I disagree. I don't think Lawson stinks. I think Lawson would be if Bowles is the coach that we think he is, Slick, develop him because he has the speed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the thing when we look at college players, and we all get guilty of this, is sometimes the scheme makes the player, and sometimes the player makes the scheme. Yep. It's trying to work out which ones are which. Because you can have a player that's not very athletic, not very good, but is really fucking football smart, knows the scheme inside and out, and looks fast in that scheme because he knows what the fuck he's doing. There's less thinking time. Then you stick him in an NFL defense, and he just can't learn it. Or they just don't get it. So they play slower. It's like watching a corner, right? So one of the reasons I would say corners can be a bit slow if you see a corner that's slow is because they're too close. So I'm currently working with a corner right now, and he's getting burned every which fucking way, and I'm trying to figure out. And I looked at film the other day, and I was like, he's 4 yards every single fucking play when he should be 5 to 7. And I just watched, and I was like, he's got no read steps. His first step is, oh, shit. That's the first step is, oh, shit. And it's because he's too fucking close. Not everyone can. The whole point of And I know what everyone's thinking. Everyone in the comments going, well, what about press? I was like, well, press is different because you get hands to delay them. You're not reading them, you're delaying them. So you don't need to read what route they're coming. You're delaying them and building off the ability to touch. And I always say this, feel your wide receiver. Get hands on them. Feel their wide receiver. Trust me, if you got a hand touching a body and that body starts to move to the left or away from you, you'll feel it. So what do your body naturally do? You'll reach out, which means you're naturally leaning into that direction, which means your footwork will take you where he's going. Whereas if you're not touching somebody, that I always say to my players, what happens is your eyes are relaying the information to your head. Your head's going, all right, I need to move my feet to the left. I need to go because he's about to run a slant at me. So I'm going to move to the inside. So I'm going to take an inside step. But then all that information is going to go down to your feet, and then motor action comes in and moves your feet. But if you got a hand on him and you feel him move, you'll move with him because it's natural. I always tell my guys to get your hands on bodies, and that's what I'm talking about with these kinds of things.
I agree. I hear what you're saying, and that's why the development slick is going to be very important. We got to have this is why Bowles has got to, in my opinion, he's going to have to turn the heat up. In my opinion, when you have a certain depth that they get to what we hope so, Slick, it's no excuse for him not to play a little extra aggressive. You can't say, I don't have the guys when you don't know. Explore. Get these guys out there. You get a Akeem Messidor in there. Don't be timid. Let them play. Like you said, rookies are going to have to grow. They're going to have their growing pains. But you can't hold them hostage. So that's why I think that we got to find the players, Slick, that are willing to be nasty, mean, that can play, that want to play. Like you said, with the character, we need players that are going to come out with the fire of, I don't give a shit about anything else but being good. Like you said, all these players, like the guys that I said I wanted, Slick, all of them, like I said, Akeem has got to be an instant starter. Deontay Lawson, immediate starter. Darrell Jackson, a great depth piece. Not good, great. Caden Curry, I just want him to be okay. Just be an okay guy. Harold Perkins, our other linebacker that I said, I just need him to be okay. Lorenzo Styles, I just want him, Slick, to be okay as well. And if he's with the size, maybe with Bowles, like he likes to disguise and have exotic blitzes, maybe you use him on a certain blitz, Slick. With if he has the speed to get out there, he could at least make the quarterback a little hesitant, like, oh shit. Yeah. So we need to. That's why I think this is it's very important. So, in your opinion, Slick, out of the first 5 picks, which one? Let's just say, which ones do you think that he cannot have an oh shit moment?
What do you mean?
It's like, why would you pick this? This person's fucking
first
terrible.
round. We all know that there's the experiments and the project players in day 3. Yeah, that's what they're there for. You can make the questionable calls then because you're working on it. I see something in this guy that can be developed and built on. So I would, and you kind of get that to a degree with the 3rd round. But the 2nd and 1st round, they're your right now players. You can't afford to have, we're going to have an experiment and try and figure this thing out with a fucking 1st round pick. Our 1st round picks in the last few drafts have been poor, except for the last draft done. Right. They've been not exciting. They've not done anything. They've not been anything. It's been a while.
Yes, that's Tristan Wirfs actually.
And in all fairness, if you look back, we could say Ibuka was what the fuck are you doing kind of pick. We just had to get our brains around what the thought process is. In all fairness, it panned out. And not only that, it really panned out because Mike Evans is left. And now you're like, okay, we still have 2. We can flex out a guy. We can flex out Chris to the X position. It's not a problem. We can put him there, and then we can bring in somebody else to take the slot receiving work. So that's not a big deal. Now, if we not done that, potentially we would be sat here going, we need to draft a wide receiver.
Yes.
As well as said player, who knows what the Buccaneers would have picked if they didn't go down that route. But I want to put you into a scenario because we're talking draft. We all want edges because, quite frankly, it's the bit of the team that's missing. You're Jason Light. You've got your pick, and these are the options available to you: Caldrick Folk, T.J. Parker, Cassius Howell, Mason Thomas, Akeem Mesidor, Zion Young. Who are you picking?
Parker.
You pick Parker, yeah?
I'm getting Parker. I would love to have Parker, but that's at 15, that's out of the question. I would love Parker.
But it doesn't matter because that one.
Oh, yeah. Then give me Parker.
Yeah.
Then I would take Parker. I would take Parker. Give me Parker. I think if the oh shit, Slick, if the Bucs get Parker, if we were to get Parker, that automatically makes the defense, to me, if Bowles gets his shit together, close to top 10. Why? Imagine Parker lined up with Vita Vea and Kalijah Kancey, and then even with Yaya on the other side. At least we can say, Slick, with Yaya, you ain't going to run that much on the side. And the pass rush is a 50-50. At least we can. I can live with Yaya being a 6 to 7 sack guy. Slick, I'm fine with that. Because believe it or not, to me, Slick, I think he is the William Golston of our edge rushers. He can stop the fucking run, but when it calls for him to get to your quarterback, it's like if he does, that's a good day. Like if Yaya is the guy that is making you worried, that's a good day. I never worry about Yaya with the run stop. That's not it. So yeah, Parker would immediately, Slick, get this. Would immediately make this Bucs team legit. I just think he's a gifted athlete. He's gifted. He's also got good vision. He knows how to get in between the gaps. Good hand work. So he's the entire package. I'd say Parker is Mesidor. That's what he's missing. Mesidor has the high motor, but he doesn't have the fundamental hand skills as Parker. But yeah, I would love Parker. Give me Parker.
Cool, man. No, put that out there as a potential scenario. But let's talk about draft vernacular. So some of the phrases that kind of get thrown around during draft day. I found an interesting article. What is an edge? How do you find what an edge is? And I tell you what, the comments made me fucking cry because clearly people don't know football. And it's not me being, I'm not mean because I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not going to go out there, but it was just so funny that there's so many people arguing with each other about what an edge is. So some people are like, it's a defensive end / thing. And they're not wrong. They're also not right either because a defensive end is a defensive end and an edge is an edge.
That's right.
And some people are like, well, it's a linebacker and it's an outside linebacker and a like edge defender. Like they're the same kind of thing. And I'm like, they are, but they're not. It depends on the scheme. And this is what people don't realize. When they categorize them in the draft, they categorize them in positions that they can play, which means they can play D-end or they could play edge. Mm-hmm. Some of them are a little bit light. So I think the boy in your draft, he's a little too light to play a 4-3 defensive end, unless he's got the power to match up there because he's a little bit lighter. He's on the 250 side of things. You want to be north of that, he'll be considered undersized. So, and then the outside linebackers, they're usually a little bit lighter. So, like your boy you picked, he's a pure outside linebacker. Yes. Probably, whereas you got the guys who are in the 270s, they are more like your 4-3 ends. But it's so interesting to see how people don't. I'm not say don't know, but they have in their opinion what they think it is. What an edge defender actually is. And then in some cases, they don't fucking know. They just don't.
Well, yeah, that's like saying Simeon Rice would thrive with his hand out of the ground, but not realizing he's never done that. A guy who's a defensive end like him has his hands in the dirt. That's why, guys, people have to know what you're like. Von Miller would not be a great player with his hands in the dirt. That's not his game. Like Slick said, Vaughn would be too small for that. He would get obliterated by a lot of those tackles.
And I want to reiterate the point that AJ just said here. You're probably thinking, guys, well, he goes up against a tackle anyway. Yeah, but he gets a bit of a run up and he's not quite tightly aligned. A defensive end is in a 5 or is usually in a 6. Is usually in a 6 tech, which means he's just off he's shaded off the end of man, shaded off the tackle. Whereas a Yaya Diaby could be in a 7, an 8, a 9, a loose 9, which means he's got a bit of space to work with. Edge rushers are usually faster than defensive ends. They're pure speed guys. They go north-south very quick. That's what they get hit downfield real quick. That's what they're about. And that speed is supposed to force the offensive tackles to adjust quicker, to use their hands quicker, and they're not quite as fast because they are usually bigger guys. So that you're killing them with speed. And defensive ends, you try to match power with power to a degree. I'm not saying that's just a general rule of thumb. I always try and simplify things. So if you can simplify it, one's more power based, the other one's more speed based. Is probably the easiest way.
Right, and it's rare.
The other one hasn't.
And it's rare to be. Again, like Simeon had a different. He was an anomaly because when people will say, "Well, what about Simeon? He wasn't power." No, but he's an anomaly. He had a longer arm length. He was quick off the line, but he was still big enough to where he could handle tackles with power. It's just he was the exception. Like
look
most
at JPP as well. JPP was both. I think he was both a D end and a pure D end in a 4-3, and he was an outside linebacker as well.
Yes, he was the jack. I think he was the jack or the will. He was either or because they switched with Bowles. So guys, that's a prime example. That's another guy later on down the line, Slick, we're gonna have to talk about because a very underrated gem to dominate guys at a 3-4 and a 4-3. That's you the man. That's why Levante is a first ballot fucking Hall of Famer. My man went from playing the 4-3 on the outside, playing in the middle in the 3-4. A lot of linebackers can't do it. It's not simple. So I think if you, like you said, if people out there got to understand the basics. You just said the 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. A lot of people, Slick, don't understand that. So Slick, you say Yaya can play the 5, 6, 7, or 8 or 9.
6, 7. Probably play 7, 8, and 9.
Can you explain to people what the 7, 8, and 9 is? There might be some people out there who don't understand that.
Okay, so every single technique is kind of shaded to a degree. So a 0 would be heads up in front of the guard. There are two different knowledge. There's old school and new school. I can't remember which one I know best. One just sticks in my head more. But 0 is straight up heads up on the center. Now, a lot of people will shade their nose, so it'll be slightly inside, slightly outside, depending on what they want to do, but that's still considered a 0. Then if he's shaded off of his foot, that becomes a 1 technique. If you are shaded off the guard's inside foot, it's a 2. No, it's not. Fucking hell.
It's all good. What I've always said, Slick, is
ones. You got 0s, 1s, 2s. Inside shade of the guard. Yep. Then you got heads up, which is like fucking 2 half. Fuck me, I've lost myself now.
It's all good, Slick. What I used to say to simplify things, your evens are basically the ones heads up against the lineman. Your odds are typically on the outside shoulder. That's why 3 technique tackles and 2 technique defensive tackles are a whole totally different animal. That's why we tried to explain to you guys why Warren Sapp and the Aaron Donalds and the Randalls of the world were extraordinary, because they had to be, those are more of your pass rushing kind of defensive tackles that get after the quarterback. Nose tackles are not, that's not their job. Their job is to plug the fucking holes up, and they are the junkyard dogs of the center of the defensive line. So that's what that's what Yaya's on the outside. Yaya's job is to typically use his speed to get outside of the tackles. Meanwhile, DNs, they're supposed to be they're the gutter. They're the ones who go up through and head on against the tackles of the guards. So you got to know that's why Slick and Bucs fans, that's why drafting is so fucking important, because you have to get the right player. If Akeem Metsador would not fit if the Bucs ran a 4-3, that would be a terrible decision. And I wouldn't want Akeem Metsador to play the Sam because he's too slow for that. Imagine him trying to drop back in coverage. You have to know.
One's built to be a pass rusher. That's the difference, right? He's a pure pass rusher. But just to reiterate the point of the defensive line. So 0 is your nose. Then you got either side of it is a 1 technique, this is all your A gap stuff. Then you got your 2-eye, which is on the inside shade of the inside shade of the guard. Then you got a 2, which is heads up on the guard. You got 3, which is what Gerald McCoy and Warren Sapp mostly played. Gerald McCoy was exclusively a free tech. That's on the outside, an outside shade on your guards. Then you got the 4-eye, which is an inside shade on the tackle. 4, which is heads up on the tackle, which is usually where our ends would play. Then you got a 5, which sometimes they do play. They might play a 4-eye. Our ends play between 4 and 5. Then you got 6, which is a little bit more shaded out. A little bit more shaded out is the 7. And then this 8 is even more. And then you got the wide 9, which is a very wide angle run. So you've got your C gap, you've got your A gap players, you got your B gap players, and then you got your C gap players. And then behind that, you've got your linebackers, and most people turn around and go a 0-0 is a middle linebacker, or a 10 technique, or a 20 technique for the guys who play 20 to 30 techniques. All they're doing is playing the same thing but further back.
See, there you go, guys. So that's why you got to understand the basics and the fundamentals of what you want to draft and what is the direction. So if I'm Jason Light and Bowles Slick, the direction is to get this defense to be nasty. As you said, I'm not worried about the offense. In my personal opinion, I think we'll be fine. The offense will take care of itself. We just needed an identity. But this defense has got to have an identity as well. And we all know the secret is that we don't have a pass rush. So now you have to get that pass rush. It's dire that this Bucs pass rush has got to be, if Bowles wants to save his job, I'm going to be honest, Slick, the pass rush has to be above average. You can't be average. Slick knows, guys. I always say if we could just be average, you can't be average anymore. You can't.
Yep. Not in pass rush. I'd rather us be run defensive average, but better in pass, because just the way the football world has evolved, I'd rather have an average run defense and have an above average pass defense rather than the other way around.
That's right. And Slick, this is another thing. And, I'm still not worried about these motherfuckers. But the Panthers on paper, they overall have a better defense than the Bucs. So this draft, Slick, has got to be able to match them. They have to. So basically, the Bucs have to knock it out of the park on defense. The Panthers have to knock it out of the park on offense. However, here's the advantage of the Tampa Bay Bucs. We have the best quarterback in the NFC South. We still have the best wide receiving core in the NFC South. Depth-wise, not running back and soul. Bijan Robinson is king of that. But in depth, we still have it. Offensive line, we still have it. So again, Bucs fans, don't fret. Offense is going to be fine. Now, Slick, somebody said, well, AJ, what would you do if the Bucs got a wide receiver in the 3rd round or a tight end? I said this, Slick. This motherfucker better be the next big thing in this offense, Slick. Basically, if they were to get a receiver that early, you're sending me a message of, you're telling me basically this offense is going to be capable of putting up 30 points a game, and until your defense gets it right. That's what you would be telling me, Slick, because at this point, they need to draft the defense where they can at least keep it under 17 points.
I think you've got to go defense in the first 3 picks. Would I be mad about it? No, because you've got to respect the direction that the coaches are trying to go. But I would still very be questioning it. I would sit here and go, I don't really understand what they're fucking doing. I didn't like the Emeka Ibuka pick at the time. I was a little bit miffed because I was a bit like, well, there are players that we could really do with, but I was proven wrong. It's what we needed. It really has paid off now because Mike Evans has left. So
right
in the grand scheme of things, it wasn't a bad choice.
No, it was not a bad choice, Slick. And now I'm with you though. Fuck offense. If you go get an offensive person in the 3rd round, Slick, it better be a guard or something, like you said.
Yeah, give me someone who's going to be the future, like a future player. And at the moment, I'd say that's the position, right? You got Bucky signed up. You've got Sean Tucker's just signed his tender today.
Mm-hmm.
We got some other running backs bouncing around there. So you don't need to go down the running back avenue. You've got wide receivers. Let some of those wide receivers that you've already drafted develop before you start going. We need to find another guy because you've got a guy who's just come back from injury is it Jalen?
Jalen McMillan? Oh, man. Jalen McMillan, you know how I feel about him. Yeah, Jalen McMillan is the future. You could... And
you got Jalen McMillan. You got the guy out of Oregon, the kid out of Oregon. Tez Johnson, yeah.
We got a squad.
Backflip Tez Johnson. Yeah, so you've already got 4 guys there. You don't really need to go crazy with, we need to add another guy to the mix. Same with tight end. You just signed a guy, so you don't really need to go down the avenue of getting him. I mean, yeah, if you went down it in the 4th round, I get it.
Fuck that, Slick. You know what I'm saying. Tight ends, no. You just paid K. Dotton, so whatever. You still have our boy who can block, and then you have Cope. Cope is your Slick. We know, you already know. Cope that's your secret slot receiver right there. That's your secret right there. That's your weapon. He runs a 4-4-2, guys. You don't let tight ends like that walk off without getting the best out of them. So, Slick, you run a fucking spread. Offensively, we'll talk about them later, guys. But for the most part, offense, that's not what's at question. It's this defense. This defense, Slick, is gonna have to come out on fucking fire, and this draft is the key to it. Because now, if you have these pieces, if we knock it out of the park, like let's say we knock it out of the park, Slick. Let's say we get A+ draft. What does that do for you and your confidence with the Bucs going into the season? And what would you? I know it's still premature, but where would you see our winning numbers be at if they got an A+ fucking draft? Like it was, you couldn't get no better than this.
Like the draft I just mock draft I just had, I would be expecting us to be a 12-win team.
Okay.
I think anyone who thinks any more than that is probably drinking the Kool-Aid a little too hard. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong, it can change. I'm just saying, and a simple expectation that I would look at that as like kind of the default. I do think I probably would expect this team. If this team gets less than 10 wins, I'm always going to be disappointed because I think we're better than that anyway. But 12 should be the magic mark. We're going to lose games. We're probably going to lose 1 or 2 division games, and we're probably going to lose 1 or 2 games out of the division. So when you put that up together, take 4 out easily. Be honest. We'd all love to be undefeated, but we've got to be realistic.
That ain't happening.
We've got to be realistic. It's going to be 10 to 12.
Agreed.
12. It should be. Sorry, it should be 10 to 12.
I hear you. No, I like that. Now, what if we have a average, like it's a C+ draft? Now, where does your number fall to?
8.
Oh shit! Woo! 8. That I didn't expect you to say that. He said 8.
Yeah, but 8 might still win the fucking division at this rate. So
8. Okay. Now, what if we just have a doo-doo draft? Dookie Duke. Boo-boo.
I think it still stays where it stands, to be honest.
I like it. Slick's saying it's all or nothing, and I fucking agree. Slick, again, ladies and gentlemen, if this draft goes to shit, this is why I said earlier, if you listened, guys, that it was going to affect everything in the future, because with this draft, if it fucks up, shit might have to get blown up. That means Baker ain't coming back. Vita might have to be on the sacrifice lamb. It's a lot of things. That's what a business like this is. It's a domino effect. When one thing goes to shit, that means, okay, we got to start from scratch. Now, what if you knock it out of the park, though, like Slick said, 12 wins I think is our ceiling. Now, Slick, again, this goes to the offense. If this offense can play, if the defense and the offense are above average, I say 13. You could get that one win that you shouldn't.
It'll come down to things like what you've said before in the past about like the offensive identity, how easy that is put together. If they find who they are quite quickly, injuries play a big part in that. The injury bug stays pretty decent, and then players step up from year into year two. Then you could be explosive, and the sky's the limit. But we're just trying to be. I'm trying to be realistic, not optimistic.
I hear you. I'm trying to do a little bit of both. I'm trying to balance.
Yeah, I get you.
I need a little bit of both. I agree. No, overall, like I said, this draft, the reason why you and I both agree, it has to be all or nothing because we're not at the stage, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, if we had a Danielle Hunter on our team, then yes, we can have an average draft, but we don't have that. We got to win with bodies. That means everybody's got to be on par. And like you said, health-wise, even on the offense, if we find an identity, Slick, then we can put ourselves there. I just don't see – I agree with you, Slick. I see the Bucs either being the 8 to 9 win team that would be disappointing, or we're going to be a shocking 12 to 13 win team. 12 or 13. I'm not going anything over that. Now, it's funny you mentioned that because as much pressure we have, the Panthers that you guys meat riding so hard, they got pressure on them too. Slick, their first 3 picks they got to knock it out of the fucking park, especially on offense. They need another receiver. They need a tight end. They need another offensive lineman because the McMillan that they love, Slick. Remember when I told people about Jacksonville Jaguars wide receiver Brian Thomas? Remember how last year motherfuckers was like, well, he got the potential to be top 10. He's going to be real good. I tried to explain this to people, Slick. I said, now, y'all do realize people adjust. Do you realize how many times we've seen rookie year wonder sensation, Slick, and then the next season comes around? We've experienced that with Michael Clayton, Slick. Michael Clayton was fucking phenomenal his rookie year. Second year, disappointing. Now, I want to go back to Brian Thomas, though, because I told people this, Slick. I'm like, all right, if y'all think okay, I think he's a special talent, Slick, but they acted like he was Justin Jefferson or some shit like that. I'm like, nah, he's good. This year, Slick.
But he scraped 1,000 yards and he didn't have many touchdowns for her.
Right. Oh, this year, Slick, he had 707 yards and 2 touchdowns.
So how many touchdowns has he got in his career? 5?
In his career, in his career, about 5.
Wow.
But remember, Slick, I was a hater.
The second coming to Justin Jefferson has 5 career touchdowns in 2 years.
Now, but I was a hater though, apparently, Slick, and I'm just sitting back like I tried to tell y'all. Like I think technically,
and their offense got better, so he should have had more.
Well, here's the funny thing, Slick. I told Panthers fans this. How the fuck even they have Tet, Slick? They this year on offense were ranked worse than they were last year. So what does that tell you, guys? That shows me, Slick, if I'm the Bucs, okay, we draft one to put pressure on Bryce Young, and second, put the clamps on McMillan. If they don't get anybody else that can help him, Bryce Young is still a big-ass question mark. Baker Mayfield is not. That's the biggest thing. The Saints, now, Slick, you said this before, and guys, so have I. We both say this shit. You got to give these motherfuckers 3 to 4 years. I know he had a good last year, but the Saints are still shit. Don't get it twisted. They might not be shit with the peanuts in it or corn in it, but they still shit. They not threatening anybody. Atlanta can either Slick. They're another one. They have potential, but they could be a team that could fuck around and be an 11-win team, or I wouldn't be
new
shocked
coach.
if they
They've
were
got to find
6.
an identity. They've got to fucking. They
Yep.
got rid of the guy who can win for them. They got an injury-prone quarterback. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not really on that thing.
Right.
Here's an interesting thing for you. Remember a certain quarterback for us called Chris Sims?
Yes.
Well, Chris Sims has made his mock draft, and he has the Buccaneers trading up with Miami to go to the 11th spot to take cornerback Mansour Delane from LSU.
No, absolutely not. That's fucking stupid. We just drafted Benjamin Morrison. That makes no sense. Yep. That would make no sense. That would be dumb, Chris. That would be dumb. That would literally piss me off.
Zion Young was still on the board at that point. I'm just going through who was on. TJ Parker was still on the board at that point. On his board, right? Peter Woods, Akeem Mesidor was on his thing. Christian Miller was on. Yeah, I just.
What is the point of drafting a corner?
The thing with corners, you have to be elite to start in the NFL day one.
Thank you.
Not many guys start day one, are good first year, because quarterback is a hard fucking position. It's the same with pass rushers. We all remember like the Chase Youngs of the world, people who've been drafted, and in their first year, sometimes even the elite ones don't crack 10 sacks. They crack around about 6 to 8. That's usually where even the elite pass rushers, if you're thinking you're going to get the second coming of fucking prime JJ Watt, it's not going to happen, because it just doesn't. It doesn't. Go look at every pass rusher. It's unusual to get 10 plus sacks in your first season. It does happen. But it's rare.
It's very rare. And here's the thing:
like you drafted 2 corners last year.
We just drafted
give them a chance to fucking develop. You can't just turn around and go, "Wow, they didn't play very well, so we're going to draft the fucking somebody else."
And as you say, Slick, what the fuck is going to be the point of drafting a so-called good corner when we have no pass rush? Now you're putting him, you're putting more mental frustration. Like, what if he is doing his job, Slick, but because no pass rush, I can easily switch it and go, okay, he's locking you up here. Oh, they're going to play off? Hey, just throw a quick short slant. Oh, that's it right there. No, Slick, we need nastiness. Olsen, we need nastiness. I think you're trolling, and it's all good. You know damn well.
I don't know what in this particular mock draft. I don't know what the cost was to trade up that far, and that's my problem, because it's usually going to be a second round pick. It's usually at least a second or a third. You are not going to get climb from 15 to 11 without trading up something good. I don't know if that player is that good that you're going to take a potential starter off the board as well. When the Buccaneers need pieces, like you said, we just talked about, if Sonny Styles was there and then somebody said, by the way, Buccaneers, here's a second, we'll switch first and you can take our first. We're going to pick the guy that you're considering, but here's a second round pick to sweeten the deal. And both of us had said we'd take.
Jump on that bitch. Can you Slick with two first and 2 second rounds? Now you could it's Slick.
That opens up the options of what you can do depending on where it is. Right, you can even leverage that fucking third round pick and make your second round pick a bit better too, or use a third round pick. Sorry, mortgage your fucking 4th round pick and your 3rd round pick to turn it into a 2nd round pick in the late.
I kid you not. Give me 2 second rounds. Fuck it. I'm gonna get edge, of course, in the first. I'm gonna get a defensive lineman, then a linebacker and a defensive lineman. A second round caliber defensive lineman. That really would.
And then in the 3rd round, you can go and get yourself an offensive lineman. Boom.
Woo!
Now you've reset.
There it is. Go ahead, Slick. Boom. You read my mind on that one. You're right. Because with that being said, that could be Bredeson's replacement. Mm-hmm. That could be his replacement. You get somebody like that, like you said, Slick. That's a major depth piece. Because let's just be real. Somebody gets hurt. Now you got somebody that's capable of stepping up. I like that.
3rd round, it's not shit round, right? So you're not expecting too much out of them. You've got the edge rusher that you compare with. We've got a free agent pass rusher, I believe, as well. So
yes.
So you put those together. You put him in a rotation. You put him in a rotation so he can learn. He's not going to get the fucking loads of sacks, but he's going to develop as well. And then you got the linebacker who can wear the green dot, who's going to challenge to fit into that spot. Because I think that's where you've got to go. And then if I traded up to go and get a fucking cornerback, that cornerback better be Jalen Ramsey prime.
Not even it better be prime. It better be prime. I need prime. If at that point you better be telling me Delaney's prime and Olsen he's not. No. If you want to go get a corner, go get one in the 4th round. There'll be corners there available. 4th round corners ain't bad. Let's be real. We gotta get pass rushers and a linebacker, y'all. I like our linebacker.
Let's talk about the scheme as well. Like, do you think that? We both of us feel that this is both me and you have said that we don't like the cushion coverage. Is the cushion coverage part of the reason why your corners haven't fucking got it? Look bad. Yes. I generally fundamentally believe that.
I agree too, because Zion did not become bad overnight. One, he wasn't healthy, and there's a lot to do with that. Again, guys, go back and watch what Slick says about corners happening to run 7 to 8 yards to tackle wide receivers that are 6'2", 210 pounds of pure muscle. That's like, imagine, Slick, someone asking you to.
We don't even do that. We back them off to fucking 10.
Yes, and you got to tackle Metcalf. You're going to be like, Coach, what the fuck? I got to tackle a guy like that. Again, guys, you have to put your players in the right position. There's a reason why Benjamin Morrison and Zion in college were better at playing man.
If you ever notice when we do cushion coverage, no one pads them. No one treads water or pads their feet. They just stand still like statues, which is even fucking worse because you build momentum. Even with your feet just vibrating off the floor, just step, treading that water, you can break into a direction with speed. But if you're flat-footed, completely static, you ain't going nowhere. And that is an indictment on the coaching staff, because that's something I'd be fucking losing my mind over in film room. I was like, guys, why aren't you fucking moving your feet?
And Slick, let's just use this as an example. Guys, this was an example this season of why cushion is bad for this team, but why being nutting up is better. Here we go, Slick. Take a look.
Rushing 4, it's McCaffrey. He's got the first down. Well, of course, a year ago it was McCaffrey who was hurt. 3rd and 8. And Jones in trouble, not there.
Picks up the flats easy. He tries to do the same. It looks like this a very similar like wheel, and then he's going to try and squeak back in, and then he's like, oh, he's right in front of me. I better squeak back out, and it just took too long.
It took too long because when we played closer. And remember, y'all, we didn't have – I don't think Zion was playing that game, but remember –
A guy looks covered when there's someone near him. If a guy's nowhere near him, he doesn't look covered, so you can throw him the ball instantly. There you go, mate. Get what you can out of it.
And remember, that was Broswell also in deep coverage. Slick, he's not fucking good at that. So you're asking – so, Olsen, that's why we're saying you're asking players – that's what bad coaches do. You put your men out there in a bad position knowing that they can't do that. Like Slick said, Slick would be better if I was a receiver. Slick could be better at covering me at that. But if I was a running back,
I don't want to see you in the dark.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that just
I'll have to go with your feet and hope for the best and just cuddle those feet.
Yeah, it's all about putting your best players in the right position, guys. Don't fuck up your players. That's why a lot of our players get injured, because you're asking me to do something that I'm not capable of. And that's not my game. And that's what Bowles is going to have to do.
It'd be nice to have a lockdown corner, but if he's playing zone, he can't be a lockdown corner.
You beat me to it. Now, Slick, explain the difference and give us examples. Give us examples.
No, remember a certain cornerback called Darrell Revis, who was really Darrell Revis, who was really good. And what did they call it if you went up against him? You had to go
Revis Island.
Revis Island. And on Revis Island, there was no returns. There was nothing except fucking misery. and he played elite man coverage. And then he came to the Bucs and went, "We're going to play fucking cover 3." Guess what? He looked average.
He looked average, right?
To do what he fucking want to do. So getting me a fucking amazing lockdown man fucking corner is making no fucking difference if I'm running cover fucking 3. Unless that guy runs deep every single fucking time. Yes, he will lock him down. But if he breaks in, out, shakes it all about, it don't matter. Because someone else will have to pick him up. Because that's not how zone coverage works. You can't be a lockdown corner in zone.
Rondé did play a ton of zone, but he also was more of a man coverage guy. And when he was in nickel, he played mostly man, not zone.
Yeah, he was a Swiss Army knife in coverage in almost everything. What I'm trying to say is, if he's a lockdown, if you're describing someone as a lockdown corner, you're telling me he's a great man coverage guy.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know much about Delaney. I genuinely don't.
Oh, I know about Delaney. Delaney is.
But I don't know he's a good zone corner. But
no,
you're
he's not.
Up a guy because he's a really good man coverage.
He's a good man coverage.
And a team that plays predominantly zone these days, it's kind of fucking redundant.
Right. And again, the kind of corner that would fit better in our scheme, Olsen, would be someone like Richard Sherman. Because that's where he thrived in cover 3. That's where he did his damage because he was a route jumper. You wouldn't want to put Richard Sherman in man press because he's going to get burnt. That's not his game.
He plays zone press because he knew how to play the same technique. He could do a job at man, but he couldn't be the man, if that makes sense.
Right. That's again
totally different dudes.
And Olsen, when you have lockdown corners, you also have a physical defense. Jalen Ramsey, when he was with the Jaguars, that defense under Calais Campbell, Slick, they were a fucking nightmare. Rondé could play, but most of Rondé's interceptions, Olsen, came from man, not zone. Remember, he also all QB. No, that's not true. Playing and dominating are two different things.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a difference, Olsen.
Rondé was definitely more of a zone guy for sure. He could probably pick up a bit of man because you have to have more than one fucking coverage. Right, the Buccaneers played the Tampa 2. They didn't only play fucking Tampa 2. They had other coverages. Otherwise, you just play fucking Tampa 2 beaters all day fucking long. There's one coverage. It's same as the fucking Seattle Seahawks play cover 3. They were known for it, but they also play variations of cover 3 and variations of man. You can't just have one fucking thing. It doesn't work. It's like, okay, we're going to rush, but we're only going to rush straight forward. No, that's why you have line fucking stunts.
And we got to get out of this notion just because you get moved around that you are good. No. Again, prime example, Aaron Donald, that a lot of people love. Oh, well, because they move him around, Slick. That's, you know how special it is? What happened when he did play defensive end and he went up against bigger guards? He got his ass handed to him. They threw him around. He was too small. That's the thing. Slick, just because I move you around doesn't mean you're the best. That's like saying, well, AJ plays 4 positions on the field. Okay, what is he good at?
It depends on what you're acquiring from that player, right? I mean, sometimes moving some guys around is you're taking advantage of the matchups. You're picking on the donkey, so to speak, in some cases. So maybe that's might have been some of that what they were trying. Same with Rondé Barber was a bit of a Swiss Army knife. They moved him around. He played nickel, but he'd also play outside corner too. He also played a little bit of safety. So yeah, it depends on what you want. If you've got a role carved out for a guy, then it's fine. But if you haven't got a fucking clue and you're just rotating a guy around, they always say, say you want the best 11 dudes on the fucking field at any given time, every circumstance.
And jack of all trades, but master of none. Just because you do certain things, unless you are elite at one thing and then above average on something else.
Yeah, there you go.
I can't do that. Like John Randall was elite at 3 technique. Now, even when he played nose, he was above average. That's what made that motherfucker special. Reggie White, he could do it at all. You put him at 3 tech, elite. You put him on the outside, God tier. So but like you said, it's rare to have players that can do that shit. Because Olsen, Rondé is an anomaly. He's an anomaly. Because statistically, Slick, a lot of people used to think that Rondé got most of his interceptions in the inside. What if I were to tell you 60 to 70% of his interceptions came from the outside?
Yeah,
because
when you understand your zone coverage to a point, you know how to manipulate the coverage to a point. When you're playing man, you are almost, this is how Reavers do it. Anytime you're playing coverage, you are trying to manipulate the quarterback into thinking it's open, and then you close the fucking door. That's the essence of playing. You can lock up a guy, and guess what's going to happen? 9 times out of 10, they're not going to him, or it's a lot of incomplete passes if you lock a guy up. Now, if you can lock a guy up, but you give the deception that he's just a half second, I could just get him. Oh fuck, he jumped the route, because he knows that when you know route concepts that are being run at you. So you look at the formation, you look at the way he's lined up, you look at where his body is lined up versus the numbers or versus the hashes. You look at and you remember, right, when he's lined up like this in this formation, there are only 3 options. He's going deep, he's got a comeback, or he's got he's got a hitch. And you can then you go into from there, the ball snapped. You're in your back pedal, you're reading. Okay, he's gone 5, he's not throttling down. I'm eliminating the hitch. The hitch is gone. So it's going to be a deep route. It's whether he comes back and throttles down again, or he goes deep. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to back off that little bit. I'm going to power into my back pedal really fucking hard to bait this quarterback in. He thinks he's going deep. I'm going to take the comeback, because that's what the play is. Let's play deep, because if it is deep, you'll just catch him up and it's fine. It doesn't make a difference. But now I'm playing it, so I'm making him think that he can throw that ball there. He throws that ball, and as soon as that ball is caught, I'm putting a foot in the ground. I'm not even looking at the wide receiver. I know what's coming, because if he throttles down, I'm coming down.
Agree, bro. And that's
boom, foot down, go down, take the ball, and it's a house fucking cool.
Bam. And now I hope Olsen and everybody else, do you see what we mean by why you have to know who to draft and how to draft and where they are? Now, Laney is a big name. He is LSU guy, Slick, but that's not for us. That's not our thing.
I wouldn't trade to get that player.
Like, I wouldn't either.
Maybe if he's there when we pick, potentially. I might not hate the pick. I just think it all depends on what's available, right? If he's the only dude that's available that I like, then I'll be okay with it.
Right.
Then I'll be okay with it. But if we've got people like potentially Akeem Mesidor, Keldrick Folk, who are depends if you like Caden McDonald, Cassius Howe, some people like, but if there are dudes out there that can play, and you're like, none of those guys are available, then yeah, maybe you go. That's the best available defensive player. Then you go for it. But trading to take so now you go, okay, we pick a corner, but we lost our 3rd round pick. So now you've got to pick somebody. So it's probably going to be a linebacker. So you've addressed no pass rushing needs.
No pass rushing. That's the most important thing, guys. The corners are going to be fine. Benjamin Morrison, who, if he stays healthy and they use him right, and we got a pass rush, he could fuck around and be that lockdown corner, or Olsen, that you are looking for. Trust me.
You got to give him the time to develop. No one's elite day one. Like, not everyone has that story. Some of this, especially at corner, a lot of corners take time to develop. Same with pass rushers. Pass rushers, they come up with the hype. They have a few sacks. Everyone talks about them. And then the second year, they go the fuck off. That's usually how it works.
So be patient, guys. Be patient. This draft,
remember, if you're a Bowles guy, what's Coach Bowles' forte? Defensive backs.
Yep, defensive back. So
you should be developing them.
So Olsen, everybody else, Buck fans, for a lot of you Bowles apologists, that's when he played. So you gotta get out there and then put the shit on him. So, yes, no, but I'm glad we broke that down. And we'll be back, guys. We're definitely going to have a show to talk about the draft afterwards, especially the first round. And we'll let you know we'll let you know how we feel. I might do a little live on my TikTok to check that out. But I do want to appreciate you guys for staying tuned and listening to Bucs Report the Aftermath. Again, you need to subscribe to YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. We get shit done. We educate and entertain. So we do both. That's something that we can do. So I appreciate you guys, though. But again, TikTok, AJ_turnup. It's called What's a Hitch? I'm here. And yes, sir. I will catch you later, my brother Slick. You be easy. Y'all take care and go Bucs. All right, Slick. I'll holler at you, brother.
Catch you soon, bro. Okay, that's the end of the show, guys. Really appreciate everyone for listening through and enjoying the content that we're putting out. Love Ice Walter Olsen. Go check his stuff out. He'll always have some really interesting stuff that always seems to stick in my mind about the athleticism levels of what Coach Bowles, like I believe that the percentiles of the athleticism, I remember him talking about one time, and size. So definitely go check out his stuff. Of course, as he says, just draft good players. It's not that hard. Of course it is. If only it was that simple, right? We all have in our hearts what we think they're gonna draft, and we all know they ain't gonna draft 9 times out of 10 who we expect or what we want them to draft. But at the end of the day, we're not the scouts. We haven't put nowhere near as much time in, and we're not the ones doing the interviews. So we have to trust. We have to trust in light, and in light we trust. So we'll see what happens. But as everyone has I would assume most people have their traditions. I'll be watching draft day the night before, just to kind of get into that draft feeling. Unfortunately, I'm working, so I will not be able to watch the draft because the draft is on at stupid o'clock in the morning over here, and I have to get up at stupid o'clock in the morning. The first round will be done by the time I wake up. But on that note, guys, thanks for listening in. Thanks for watching. Appreciate you all. We'll be coming back out here probably next Monday. But on that note, Bucs on me, Bucs on free. 1, 2, 3, go Bucs!